Are you drowning in a sea of unplayed video games, wondering where to start? Do you feel overwhelmed by the ever-growing pile of backlog? Well, fear not, because today I'll be giving you 5 tips that will help you out to clean up your backlog and have a better and much more organized way of dealing with it. So, without further ado,
Let's get into the intro.
hi and welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Vashal and this is Play, a place where we share all kinds of stuff from video listings to backlog tips and so much more. Today we're gonna tackle the common problem that every single person when they're building their backlog is facing, and that is organizing and keeping their backlog clean. Today I'll be giving you 5 tips that will help you out to overcome that problem. They're simple, they're direct, and they're gonna help you out to trim down and make a better understanding of where you are with your backlog. I know that you guys really love these backlog videos, so let's get into that list. Right, so the first tip that really sparked my interest to make this video was to not add an entire franchise, or if you want to, remove games or franchises that don't resonate with you. If you've given a game or a franchise a fair chance but find that it doesn't engage you in any other way, or it's not really interesting, or the genre particularly is not resonating with you, don't hesitate to remove it. Or if you added a franchise in your backlog, consider trimming it down to the first game that you want to play in the chronology, and from there on you can see if the game gets progressively better, or if you enjoy it, then you can add it further. I know that I make that mistake by adding the entire franchise because I think that I will be playing all of them, but it is better to trim it down and keep it nice and tidy and just add them one by one after you've completed the first game from the franchise. If you don't enjoy playing games in a chronological way and you just like to pick up a game that you fancy, that maybe it's the newest, then play that one and see if it's okay for you to go ahead and add other games that are much older. But I know that a lot of you who are playing this kind of games and make backlogs and everything like that, you love to add games based on their chronology. You like to play them in that kind of way, and I don't blame you. It's a great way to enjoy games as they are, and it's fun to know the lore. It's fun to experience games like that. But some games that don't have a story and simply have a number attached to them, let's give for example Civilization, or you're playing a strategy game, or you're playing an open world survival game, crafting and farming and stuff like that, that doesn't have a very strong lore connection between them, you can simply jump and play the latest installment and see if you enjoy the game as it is. If you don't enjoy it, then discard it off of your backlog. The second tip is to strive for completion before discarding. And I don't mean now completion as in 100%, but at least striving to beat the story. Aiming to complete or at least make significant progress in the game before considering removing it from your backlog is an important step in my opinion. By giving each game a fair chance, you can fully experience what it has to offer and make more informative decisions about whether it is worth your time. Completing games also give you a sense of accomplishment and closure, allowing you to move on to the next title with a clear mind. I personally like to do this kind of stuff. I strive to be a completionist when it comes to tackling my backlog, but this is not for everybody, and I don't endorse this kind of behavior, especially if you have a large backlog like myself. But if you enjoy and you find satisfaction from this kind of stuff, do know that it will come with frustration, challenges, and a lot of time consuming moments with games that you should be tackling and finishing a lot more sooner. Everybody has a different way of playing games. Some people love to explore games and take their time. Other people like to rush through things. So if you're the type that likes to rush through things, definitely don't go to a 100% completion or hunting trophies like the platinum and stuff like that, because it's definitely not worth it. But overall, if you want to consider discarding a game from your backlog, consider to go at least beating the campaign and see if the game itself stuff is worth going forward, and you can apply tip number 1 to this. Tip number 3 is to research before adding to your backlog. And I think this is the most simplest and the most basic tip that I could give. Basically what it means is to make careful decisions whenever you're adding games to your backlog. This means to do your research based on reviews, watch gameplay videos, and consider whatever it is aligning with your gaming preferences and interests. It's very important to have a clear idea. Don't just throw anything over there just because your friends recommended it or it has only good reviews. Make sure that these kind of games are really resonating with you. Not every single game out there that got to be the game of the year or has been highly praised by so many people is gonna be worthy of being in your backlog. So be very careful what kind of games you're adding over there. Being more selective can prevent your backlog from growing unnecessarily, in my opinion. For tip number 4, consider gaming backlog sizes. Before adding a new game in your backlog, assess the current size of your backlog and whether it is manageable. If your backlog is already large, prioritize adding games that you're genuinely excited about or that offers a unique experience to avoid overwhelming yourself with too many options. I think this is super important to do because oftentimes we balloon our backlogs to overwhelming proportions. Some people don't like to call them backlogs, some people like to call them libraries. Whatever might be the case, if you balloon it in such a size that you cannot manage it anymore, it becomes overwhelming, and that's why you and I talk about this kind of stuff, and obviously you're watching this kind of videos. So definitely pay attention to how big is getting your backlog, because I'll be talking about tip number 5, that what you can do to overcome this. And for tip number 5 is to use the 1 in, 1 out rule. And this is fairly simple. So basically you adopt a rule where you can only add a new game to your backlog once you've completed or you've removed a game from your backlog. This encourages you to prioritize finishing existing games before acquiring new ones, preventing your backlog from growing unnecessarily. Now, this could also mean that, as I said in previous videos, some games may not necessarily have to go directly in your backlog. Some games can be sitting in your library. Maybe you found a good deal for the game, but you're not planning to put it on your backlog or something like that. Sure, you can do that, but be considerate about the games that go inside your backlog, meaning the games that you really want to play. Do your research and as well be considerate of how big is the size of your backlog. And there you have it. 5 tips to help you out to tackle that mountain of backlogs so that you have a better and much more organized way of dealing with them. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this kind of tips, and also if you have any kind of tips regarding this that I haven't talked about in this video or in my previous videos, feel free to share them down below. I read all of them and I'll be replying to all of them, so I'm looking forward to hear from you. Also, if you enjoy this kind of content and want to see more, feel free to smash that like button and also subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you will be notified every time I post something new. That's all I wanted to share for today. My name is Vasharal and this has been a Taleplay tips guide video. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and as always, take care, stay safe, and happy gaming.